Great question. What I actually said was that it was so damaging to Heather Humphreys that she tried to get it taken down. What was meant by that is that the content was damaging enough to her campaign that somebody reported it. I don't need to accuse her of doing it. We can just ask TikTok. But before I dive in and use your comment as a teachable moment to help other creators understand their digital rights under DSA, I'm going to point out some things about you. No followers, no profile picture, no content. No previous engagement with me. Nitpicky on phrasing, with precise wording that fits a common testing tactic in information warfare. Observe the provocation framing of this comment. Isolate the verb, she tried, and strip away the sentence just before it, was so damaging to her that she tried. Designing the comment to create a quote that looks like an allegation. Typically, I don't recommend that people respond to these kind of comments. If someone is writing to you from a burner account, they don't deserve your time. At least get yourself a profile photo and some followers first to show that you are a consistent human being asking a genuine question. I consider this signal testing, probing to see if I will respond and if in doing so they can lure me into further speculation. If I can be caught out, trying to explain myself, it might produce some evidence that might help a case against me later. There's a high likelihood that this is a troll or a bad actor. Most genuine viewers, truly confused about something I said, do not extrapolate and highlight specific wording that could be interpreted as damaging later. So that's gross. We don't need to worry about whether Heather did or whether I accused her of doing so. We can just ask. Somebody, we don't know who, has filed a defamation complaint against my video in Ireland. Under the EU Digital Services Act, TikTok's process is to geo-block first and then review later. This is not a court ruling, it is a platform precaution based on an allegation. Doing that is a way for them, whoever, to quickly get it removed, whether or not there's any legal validity to the allegation. Creators in my situation have 3 levers under DSA. I can ask the platform for a statement of reason, which I've already done. They have to tell me the exact reason that my video was restricted and on what legal basis. I expect to receive from TikTok within the timelines the rule or law being cited, the scope of the restriction, and a short explanation. I can also file a platform appeal, which I have done, and in doing so, I provided my sources. And I restated that the video was done in the public interest. If TikTok upholds the restriction, and I believe that that is disproportionate, then I can file a complaint with the regulator. And at that point, I can reference Articles 53 and 68 of DSA, which puts the spotlight on the regulator and makes all of this way more public than it ever needs to be. The third thing that a creator in my situation can do legally, under Article 17, Section 3 and Article 20, Section 1, a user whose content is restricted has the right to request clear and specific information on the basis for the decision, including the legal or contractual ground used, the scope of the restriction, whether the notice came from a public authority, a trusted flagger under Article 22, or another private user, and the full text of the notice or complaint. Platforms, therefore, must identify the category of notifier and provide me with that notifying text. And they are legally required to provide that in a timely and transparent manner. So, who raised the takedown request? We will find out fairly soon. This is bigger than one video or whether I can evidence my statements enough. This is evidence that DSA, which was brought in to remove genuine harm, is now being weaponized to chill political speech 10 days before an election. Just because the platform says that it's defamation does not mean that I have broken the law. It means somebody is accusing me and the platform has to take legal precaution. If somebody is actually suing me for defamation, it is not done through platform takedown notices. That is not a legally valid channel. Nobody has sent me any form of legitimate communication around this issue. If I got a legal letter that explained how my video was interpreted as defamation and asked for an apology, I would have probably just apologized and taken it down, to be honest. Because that's the formal path and I respect the law. But this isn't law. It's fear tactic. At best, it's an attempt at risk management by Fine Gael. Or whoever. If anybody actually believed that there was a legal basis for defamation in what I said, I would have received a letter, not a takedown request. That's how defamation works. A solicitor sends a notice and they outline the exact sentences they're claiming are false, and it arrives in a way that's legally valid for the country that I live in. I live in England. So if somebody in Ireland wants to sue me, they have to follow UK service rules and prove that the supposed harm happened there. What's happened here is they are using a moderation tool to create the illusion of legal action. And that is intimidation by process, which is not lawful at all in either country. Ironically, had I received an email from the party's comms team or a legal letter from their counsel, I would have respected it. If anybody that I ever made any video about approached me and said, hey, listen, that really hurt my feelings, I would engage in a civic manner. My goal is to educate on systems and structures, not upset random politicians. I don't care about the individual. I care about the sheer volume of meetings that they have had with lobbyists and the fact that that has not been mentioned on their campaign trail once. But when somebody mentions it, they get accused of defamation. I post content every day. After a couple of weeks, a video gets buried and never seen again. Fine Gael are not stupid. They know how they're polling. If they send me a legal letter, they are going to turn this niche moderation spat into national news. Candidate threatens journalist would be poisonous optics during an election. Legal exposure works both ways. Once they put it in writing, they have to stand over it. That means they will have to go through my script word by word and identify what specifically are they alleging is false and prove malice. They would also open discovery on their own communications. That's a hard sell for any party lawyer 2 weeks before polls open. And even if they did try and sue me, I sit outside their jurisdiction. Service through UK courts would take them months, not days. The election would be over before the filing reached me, but when it does, it would reignite memory of all of these campaign foibles that I have no doubt they would try and forget before the general elections. If Fine Gael tried a case like this, the optics alone could destroy their political credibility. They'd go down in history as the party who tried to sue a citizen into silence. It would be a cautionary tale for any future campaigns. Political actors are fair game for evidence-based scrutiny. Legal intimidation is way more reputationally damaging for Fine Gael than anything I said. It would actually be a fascinating legal case to be involved in because it would force the platforms to recalibrate also. If they tried to sue me and they lose, it would make it harder for the platforms to justify automatic geo-blocking. If they try to sue me and I win, it could make our public conversations become a little bit freer. It could teach future politicians and platforms that attempting to suppress, censor, or silence lawful evidence-based criticism damages more than protects.